afternoon, good morning, everyone here on this session. Hello, can you guys hear me? Yes, hi,
Hi,
good
good
morning.
morning.
Good morning, good morning. Yes, good afternoon as well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter how you want it to be. Okay, so yes, hi, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. So anyway, hi. We were unable to have a session last Monday due to me being unavailable, but we're back. We're back. Okay, we're here for another session of our Basic English Language 101. Okay, now before we go ahead and start the session that we have, let me just check up on you guys. How are you so far? Okay, so that we'll be able to check up on each other. What kept you busy this past few days? What kept you busy during the weekend so that you'll be able to practice your speaking skills as well? Okay. How are you? How are you so far? Let me ask just random people. Okay. Let me ask just random people on how are you so far? Anything that you'd like to share? What kept you busy for the past few days? What kept you busy during the weekend? Let me ask um, Joyce and Joyce Ann, are you here? Oh, you're unmute just in case. Oh, she's got. No, she's not. Joyce Ann, no, no. Okay, wait. Maybe she's having problems with her mic. How about Jovi? Jovi, Jovi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. How are
Is
you? How are
that
you?
Tobita Tabada?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did not get to change my name. Yes, the weekend was just okay. Same weekend.
Mhm.
Um, doing chores, doing my laundry, having dinner with kids.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Did you and your kids go out or was it within the house as well?
Um, we just bench watch
You just
a
binge watched?
series. Yes.
Oh, what series did you binge watch?
Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix.
Is it nice? Is it something that you can recommend to others?
I would say that's a one-time thing for us.
Wow, it's a one-time thing, so not something that you can recommend. Okay.
No,
Okay,
but
I
if
don't
you're
know.
into court trial drama, yeah,
Mhm.
it's good. But I would still prefer Suits. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I
Or
see. Thank you very much for that, Jovi.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank
So it
you.
was a nice time that you had with your kids. Very nice. How about for you, Crizel?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I
Hi.
honestly
Mm-hmm.
been stressing over the upcoming exams
Mm-hmm.
because it's the coverage was um very long, comprehensive exam. So yeah,
Mm. What exams? Exams for this, or is it school-related
more
exams?
school related.
Oh, school-related exam. Yes, it's
Yes,
very stressful. Is that something that's already done or upcoming exams?
upcoming upcoming exam
Oh.
which is tomorrow and
Oh.
Friday.
Oh, good luck. Good luck then.
Thank you, thank you.
Have you reviewed enough for the upcoming exams that you'll be having?
Yes,
That's very nice then, as long as you're prepared, right? Okay, so good luck. Good luck to the upcoming exams that you'll be having. Hopefully, you'll have it with flying colors. Okay. How about for you, Rosaline? Rosaline. Maybe she's having problems with the mic as well. Let me ask another person instead. Um, I'm seeing familiar names. Okay. How about for Arneline Andrade. Arneline, you're on mute just in case. Or are you having troubles with your mic as well? Having lots of people having trouble with their mic. How about for Grace? Grace Karaan. Grace. Grace. Gosh, this most of you don't have your mics on, so how will I be able to talk to you guys? It's so sad. I would not be able to hear your lovely voices. Let me try another person as well. What about for Krisha? Krisha Jane Gonzaga.
Hello, Coach. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Okay, so this is my first time talking to everyone. So, again, good afternoon. Last weekend, we went to the beach because Coach Mary didn't gave us homework. So my mind, was at ease. And after that, back to regular programming, which is um, doing house chores and taking care of my child.
Wow, but you went to the beach.
Yes.
That's nice. So did you have your tan lines and all?
No, because there's the timing was not good because there's a lot of jellyfish at the moment. So we just
Oh,
stayed at the seashore.
oh, that's so bad. There's a lot of jellyfish. It's scary. That's quite scary then. Okay, but
Yes.
that's good. You were able to enjoy yourself and then back to your regular programming then. Okay. Thank you very
Thanks,
much
Coach.
for that, Krisha, and welcome for being for having the others. I'm hearing your voice for the first time. Then, okay, very good. How about for Lady Marian Portodo?
Hi, Coach. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
good afternoon.
I'm sorry. I'm just I just recently entered this Zoom
Oh no,
room
that's
because my
fine.
daughter is having a tantrums right now. I'm sorry. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, that's fine. No worries. Oh, I'm checking up on some of you guys. Like, what did you do for the past few days? What kept you busy during the weekend? How are you so far?
So far, I've been busy because I'm also working as a customer service representative, and at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I'm also doing household chores and taking
Mm-hmm.
care of my daughter. I'm sorry, it's too noisy.
Oh, that's fine. No worries. We definitely understand that, especially if we're working from home, right? All the tasks,
Right.
all the
Yeah.
chores are just
Yeah.
going to be simultaneous.
Yeah. All in one.
Yes, that's true.
Thank you, Coach Mary.
That's very true. That's why it's actually really difficult, especially for parents, this work from home setting, since they would not be able to really have a separate, they would not be able to clearly separate the parent tasks, the job tasks as well, since you're in just one place. It's just from home. But yes, good luck. And we really admire these parents that are doing simultaneous with their tasks and all, and doing it with flying colors. But thank you very much for that. Um,
Welcome, Coach. Thank you also, po.
Thank you, lady. And yes, how about for you, Arneline? Are you good now?
Yes, coach.
There. Hi.
Yeah, I was actually busy the last weekend. I
Mhm.
I was able to attend to my niece christening.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's my weekend.
Congratulations with the christening of
Thank
your
you.
niece there.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's basically your weekend. Okay, then. So a lot of you had a very busy weekend. Some of you had a chill weekend as well. So we all had different tasks to do as well during the weekend. But very good that all of you are doing good so far. Okay, and good luck for those who are going to have some exams. Okay, especially for our working students and all. Now, anyway, since we're good with checking up on some of you guys, so you're good for those who are able to share something. Okay, we were able to at least hear your speaking voices as well. So just a reminder, right? Some of the things that I've noticed, yes, there's an evaluation with the checking up. Okay. Just an observation. So just like what we have mentioned so far in regards with the sessions that we've had. So some of the really common errors that's happening whenever we have the English grammar is in regards with the verb usage. Okay, when to use past tense, when to use present tense, especially with the did, with did plus the action word. So again, for did, that's already a past form of do, right? So whenever we're using did, so we should follow it up with a present type of tense. So for example, did plus give, right? So we should say it as did give, not did gave. Okay, or for example, go. So it should be did go, not did went. Okay, so there. So that's just some of the common observation or opportunities there, okay, that I was able to notice. And some of them are pronunciation, but that's something that we can always check out from time to time. And we really have some bits of lapses at times with pronunciation because there are really some different pronunciation depending on the accent that we're going through. Okay, so there, but we'll go through that later on. So the common one is really in regards with the verb usage, but very good. Okay, very good so far. Now, let's now proceed with the discussion that we will be having for today, or the session that we'll be having for today. So we will just be simply continuing where we left off from last session from last week. So from last week, we actually stopped with, sorry, I'm just going through it. Last week, we stopped with the verbs. Okay, in regards with the usage of the verb in a sentence, okay, for it to be consistent, or can we shift tenses, right? So again, it will depend, okay, on the time frame, okay, of that particular action. So if the different action words will occur within the same time frame, so we should have a consistent form of verb. So if it's all past tense, so everything should be in the past tense itself. Now, if there will be different time frames for each action, so that's the time that we can have change in tenses. Okay, so we'll just simply continue with that. So here we have word usage as well. Now, in regards with word usage, so before we go through with this one, especially when we're talking to someone, so we don't really need to have flowery words, grand words, okay, or highfalutin words for us to use, right? So if we can avoid using fancy words, especially when we're talking to someone or when we are explaining something, for example, so try to avoid fancy words and phrases, okay, when simple ones can actually convey the idea, because there are times that if you might be using highfalutin words, okay, or big words on how we simply call it, it might cause more confusion, right? It might cause as well for the listener to not fully understand what we are actually saying. So if we can convey it in a simple way, in a simple manner, so that's actually going to be better for them to easily understand as well. Okay, what we are actually pertaining to, what we are, what message are we actually conveying, okay, to the listener as well. Okay. Also, it's quite common for us, for Filipinos, to use the words just and only. Okay, that's some of the most overused words by Filipinos whenever we are speaking in English. It's just and only. Me, myself, I'm actually guilty with that, especially with the word just. Before I was really fond of using the word just. Okay, then I got conscious about it because I've noticed that it's really getting overused by me. Okay, so those words just and only, try eliminating those words from your spells. Okay, or whenever you are speaking English, if they're actually not relevant in regards with the usage. Okay, so remember, whenever we are speaking to someone, we need to express it better instead of actually impressing someone, right? We need to properly express what we would do, what we would want to convey instead of impressing. Because yes, we did impress them with the words that we are actually using, okay, but they were unable to clearly understand what we are saying, right? We were unable to fully express whatever we wanted to say. So express, don't impress. Okay, if you can express them in simple manner, okay, so that will be better for them to easily understand as well what we are actually explaining to them. So here, some of the other word usage that we might have, because sometimes these are the words that are getting interchanged, okay, or we're not sure when to use these particular words because sometimes they sound the same, right? And at times we're not entirely sure how are we supposed to use this word. Okay, so these two words are just some of them. So we have accept versus accept. Okay, so for accept, it means receiving something. So for example, she accepted my gift, so meaning she received the gift that I have provided or I have given to her. While for the word accept, okay, it means that we are excluding. Okay, we are taking out. You are leaving out. Okay, someone or something. Okay, so just like the sentence that we have here. So John accepted the task that was assigned to him. So meaning John did receive, okay, or was okay with the task that was actually assigned to him. And for accept, so all the agents were tired except for James. So meaning everyone is tired. Okay, and James was the only one who was not tired. Okay, so there. So in regards with the usage of accept and accept, because sometimes it gets interchanged. Okay, which is which is quite common. Okay, so it's normal for us to be confused with some words, especially with the English language, of course, right? Because technically it's still our second language. So for some, it might not really come naturally the meaning of these particular words. Okay, so they're accept or accept. So they will have two different meanings. Okay, they're not going to be the same set of words. It's just that they sound the same. Okay, that's why it kind of causes confusion at times, but there. So accept again is receiving, while for accept, you are excluding. Okay, you are excluding something or someone. Okay, meaning they're not part. Okay, they're not going to be a part of whatever task, whatever information was actually provided. Okay, so there. Now, apart from accept or accept, so we also have here fewer or less. Okay, so if we just see it in one go, fewer or less, they kind of mean the same thing, right? But when are we going to use the words less, and when are we going to use the word fewer as well? So they do have similar meanings, right? But they cannot be used interchangeably. So when are we going to use them? So for the word fewer here, So we are going to use them when we are referring to an amount that could be expressed as a specific number. Okay, so meaning we can actually count it. Now, if it's going to be for less, okay, it is going to be used when we are making comparisons, okay, that do not lend themselves to numeric amounts. So meaning it cannot be physically counted. You cannot just simply count it with 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, 100. Okay. Unlike for fewer, we are going to use this when the subject or the object that we are referring to can be counted numerically. Okay, 1, 2, 5, 10, so on and so forth. While for less, it's not with a specific numeric value. Okay, so for example, here, so we have fewer than 100 invoices left to encode. So we have a particular number provided. Now for less, there is less water in the lake this time of the year. So here, the object that we are referring to is water, right? So we cannot just simply count it with 1 water, 2 water, right? So there is going to be a specific amount, a specific value that will be for water. So it's either with milliliters, liters, right? So there needs to be a specific unit assigned to this particular object that we are referring to. Okay, so there, unlike with fewer for invoices, so there, this is something that we can count. Okay, there's 2 invoices, 3, okay, 5, 100. Okay, so there, so that's going to be for the usage of fewer and less as well. Okay, so it depends on the object that you are actually referring to, if you can count it or if you cannot. Okay, if there should be a specific unit assigned to that particular object that you are referring to. Okay, so for example, if we're referring to people, right? For people, we can actually count them, right? There's 100 people here. So we can use fewer for that instead of less. Okay. There. So it really depends on the object that you are actually referring to. Okay. Now, apart from fewer or less, this one is very common. So we have its versus its with an apostrophe. Okay, so it's without an apostrophe and it's with an apostrophe in it. Okay, so what will be the difference between the two? So for it's with apostrophe, it's actually a contraction, meaning it is or it has. Okay, so while for it's, without the apostrophe there, okay, so it's a possessive pronoun. Okay, when we are pertaining to something. Okay, so like for example, so Google has its own email function, so we cannot use apostrophe s for it. Why? Because if we actually use apostrophe s, it would sound like this. So Google has its own email function, right? It is grammatically incorrect because we are pertaining to Google specifically that they own. Okay, they own their own email function. Okay, so they are in possession of their own email function. While for the second sentence that we do have here, so it's a dream come true. So if we actually use the it apostrophe s, so it is a dream come true or it was a dream come true, depending if we are pertaining to a present form or we are pertaining to a past scenario. Okay, that has already happened. Okay, so there. You can have it in your head. You can try to check if you're going to be confused, if you're going to use it's without an apostrophe or if you're going to use it's with an apostrophe on it. If you actually take out the contraction, okay, if you use it is, it was, it has, will it be grammatically correct or is it grammatically incorrect? Okay, like for example here, so Google has its own email function. So if you think about it, right? So if you take out the contraction, if you're going to use with apostrophe S, so Google has it is, it was, it has own email function. So it is not going to sound right, right? It's going to be grammatically incorrect. So you would know that you're going to use it's for this one instead without an apostrophe. So next, it's a dream come true. So if you can use it is a dream come true, it was a dream come true. So there, it is a grammatically correct type of sentence. So you're going to use the apostrophe S for this one. But basically, so this is going to be the usage of it's without an apostrophe, and it is with an apostrophe S on it. So it's with apostrophe again is a contraction for it is, it was, it has. While for it's without an apostrophe, so it's going to be a possessive pronoun. Okay, it's going to be a possessive pronoun at that. Okay. So there. So far with how we have exact versus exact, fewer versus less. Okay, and then now we have it's or it's with an apostrophe there. So with versus without an apostrophe. Okay, apart from it's or it's. Okay, another common error that we are going to see if we are checking the written English grammar is this. There, or there, which is a contraction for they are. Okay, this is also very common apart from it's or its. We also have your or your with an apostrophe, right? So we'll go through that later on. So here we have there, or there. So what will be the difference between these three? So for there, it's also a form of possession. Okay, meaning they are actually owning this particular object that they are referring to. Okay. We also have there. So take note the pronunciation will be different. So there. Okay. It's going to be different pronunciation. So for there, it is pertaining to a place. Okay. If you are pointing to something, okay, in or at that place. Okay. Versus the word here. And lastly, we have there, the one with apostrophe RE. So this is going to be a contraction of they are or they were, depending on the verb usage that you have. If it's going to be for present tense, so they are. If it's going to be for past tense, that's going to be they were. Okay, so there. The commonly interchanged though here will be there and there with an apostrophe. Okay, but sometimes there comes into place as well. So this will be the different usage that we have. So there meaning it's belonging to them. There, okay, if you're pertaining to a place. And there with an apostrophe RE, again, it's going to be a contraction of they are or they were. Okay, so there, like for example here, so their mom made them eat vegetables. So we are using their, this one, because we are of course, the mom belongs to them, to the children, okay, who is actually, who we are actually pertaining to. So they're happy because they get paid today. Okay, so they are happy because they get paid today. Okay, or if it was a past form, so they were happy because they got paid yesterday, for example. Okay, and are you sure she's not there? Okay, because we are pertaining to a particular place. Could be pertaining to a house of a specific person, for example, or it could be a specific place, could be a mall, a library, anything. Okay, so are you sure she is not there? Okay, if we are going to use the word there, it means that the speaker is not within that particular place, right? As opposed, if we are going to use here, if we use the word here, it means that the speaker is within that place. Okay, she is in that place as well. Okay, so there. So we have there, we have there, we have there. Okay. So different usage as well, just like with it's versus it's with an apostrophe. Okay, so again, there, possession. There, you are pertaining to a place. Okay, and there with an apostrophe, it's also a contraction of they are or they were. Again, depending on the verb that you're going to use. If it's going to be a present form of tense or if it's going to be a past form of tense. Okay. Okay, so there. Now, apart from it's versus it's and there, or there, we also have this word usage that's commonly interchanged. Your or you are. Okay, your or your. But the other your is with an apostrophe re. Okay, this is very commonly interchanged. So when are we going to use your without an apostrophe? And when are we going to use your with an apostrophe? So your, okay, it's also a possession, just like with there and it's, okay, just like with this there, okay, and this it's without an apostrophe s. So it's going to be a form of possession. Okay, it's the possessive form of the pronoun you. While if it's going to be for your, meaning the you apostrophe re, so it's also a contraction, okay, of you are. Okay, you are or you were. Okay, again, depending on the time frame. Okay, if it's a present form or if it's going to be the past tense. Okay, so there. So for your welcome, I'm sure some of you are confused with this. Are we going to use possessive form or are we going to use the contracted form of you are? Okay, so it's going to be you are welcome. Okay, very good. That's right. So it's going to be your with the apostrophe re. Okay, so you're welcome. And here, submit your report when you are finished. Okay, so again, for you, your without an apostrophe, that's going to be a possession. Okay, it's the possessive form of the pronoun you. It's a possessive pronoun. Okay, meaning we are owning something. Okay, belonging to you. Okay, that particular object that you're referring to belongs to you alone. Okay, so there. So submit your report when you are finished. Okay, so there. That's also a common error that we commonly encounter. Okay, is in regards with the usage of your versus your with an apostrophe. Okay, so again, your is a possessive form of pronoun of you, while for your with apostrophe, that's going to be a contraction of you are. So just like the previous words that we do have, so we have the possessive form of pronoun versus the contraction. Okay, because that commonly gets interchanged. Okay, so here it's, there, and we have your or your. Okay, because if you're just simply going to listen to it, right? Listening to it, it does not really have that very big difference with pronunciation. So you are just simply going to verify or know if it's going to be the possessive form or if it's going to be the contracted form, depending on the sentence, right? That you are actually going to hear. So there. Okay, so we have these different commonly interchanged words. Okay, in regards with the usage as well. So apart from the possessive form of pronoun and the contracted form, so again, we also have the usage of fewer or less and also except or except. Okay, and also just like what was mentioned earlier, so try to lessen. Okay, try to lessen the usage of the words just or only. Okay, because they just simply add up to the number of words of you that you are actually using, but does not really affect the meaning, okay, or the message that you are trying to convey, okay, because those are really the common overly used words or overused words that we have with Filipino English, okay, and always remember, express, don't impress. Okay, it's better to properly express our message, okay, or the message that you are trying to convey instead of actually impressing someone with the words that we are using, okay, when they were unable to fully understand what we are actually conveying because of the words that we have used. Okay, so there. Now, apart from these words, so these are also a common, this is also a common scenario that we do have is in regards with the business versus colloquial word usage. Okay, meaning are you using these words formally? Okay, in terms of business. So here we have some of these examples. These are very common. We have gonna or wanna. Okay, these are not actually okay, I'm grammatically correct. So if you're going to use gonna or wanna, okay, so they are shortened words, okay, or shortened phrases for going to or want to. So instead of using gonna or wanna, okay, so kindly use going to or want to instead. Okay, because technically, gonna or wanna are not three words. Okay, they are grammatically incorrect, so they are just a form of a colloquial usage. So they are just simply adapted. Okay, so instead of using gonna or wanna, use going to or want to. And here we also have yeah, yep, yup, yeah. Okay, so instead of using these when we are answering some question, yeah, that's right. Okay, yep, yep. Okay, so we should be using yes, right? What's so difficult with using yes? It's the same one syllable as these other words, as yeah, yup, yep, yep. Okay, so kindly use yes instead. Okay, we also have not a problem, no worries, sure. Okay, especially for sure. Okay, after the providers say thank you, so we should be acknowledging, right? And we should be acknowledging whenever someone says thank you. Okay, so we cannot just simply say sure, no worries, not a problem. Okay, so it's better if we will be using you're welcome instead, or I'm glad I can help. Okay, so they're um, depending on the usage of thank you. Okay, so there. So instead of just simply saying not a problem, no worries. Okay, sure. Okay, especially sure. Okay. It's not, it's like you are not acknowledging, okay, the thank you of the person that you are talking to. So just kindly use you're welcome. I'm glad I could help. Okay. And also here, especially in the customer representative sense, we commonly use give me a second or hold on or one moment. That's overused. That's really overused, okay, by associates, for example. So instead of saying give me a sec, hold on or one moment, so provide a specific time frame, for example. Okay, may I ask for blah blah minutes or a few seconds, okay, to get a specific information. So there, for this one, it actually depends on the scenario. Okay, or if you are getting an information, for example, you're getting the name of the person. Okay, name. Don't just simply say or don't just simply ask. Okay, the specific information that you're asking about. For example, you would want to get their number. Okay, phone number. Phone number, please. Okay, so it's always good if you can start it with may I have. Okay, instead of can as well. So can you use it's better, it's more polite if you will be using may instead of can. Okay, because if it's going to be may, we're asking permission, right? If we can actually get that particular information from them. Okay, and don't just simply say name, okay, number. Okay, so always have it in full sentences. Okay, instead of just simply saying fragmented sentences or just simply saying the word, just simply saying a particular phrase. So it's always better if we can communicate with the person that we are talking to in a full form of a sentence, okay, or in a sentence form. Okay, so there. So these are just some of the business versus colloquial common phrases, common terms, common words, okay, that are getting used, okay, which of course should be corrected. Okay, so there, especially the yeah, yup, yep. This is commonly used. It's like you're talking to your friends, right? Yep. Okay, yep. Okay, so just make sure to kind of use the word yes instead. Okay, or like with yes, so nope. Okay, no. Okay, we can just simply use the word no, right? Instead of saying nope. Okay, so there, instead of nope, just simply say the word no. Okay, or gonna or wanna again, please don't use this. Never use this. Okay, the gonna or wanna. Okay, they're not even real words. So just simply use going to or want to. Okay, they were just simply adapted from going to or want to. It's a shortened form, okay, of going to or want to. There. Okay. So these are just some of the business versus colloquial terms that we do have. Okay. So make sure, especially when, for example, you're talking to a client, right? To never use these particular phrases, these words, because it would not sound professional. Okay, it's like you're casually talking to someone, to your friend. Okay, so make sure that we are addressing them appropriately and we are using the correct phrases, appropriate words, appropriate terms to use. Okay, instead of the colloquial usage of these particular words. So there. Okay, so that's what I have in regards with word usage. Okay, now apart from word usage, so of course, apart from spoken English, so we also have our written English grammar, right? And one of the common errors or one of the common things that we're not really sure about written English is going to be in regards with punctuation usage. Okay, when are we going to use this punctuation? When am I going to put a comma? When am I going to use this particular punctuation? Okay, now for the punctuations, okay, so the punctuations will actually help us to, of course, express what we mean in a better manner. Okay, so we will have, of course, a correct usage for each particular punctuation. Okay, wait up, sorry. Okay. So let your punctuations express what you actually mean. Following their correct usage will make, of course, your writing easier to read, okay, and more appealing. And of course, the correct meaning, okay, that you would want to express will be understood appropriately. Because punctuations really make a big difference in regards of the meaning of a particular sentence. Okay. For example, let me type it here just to show it to you guys. Okay, wait. I'm typing some sentences with different punctuation. Versus. Okay, here. So here we have a particular sentence. Please don't stop what you're doing. There. Okay. And if you would notice, I have typed. Okay. Or I have provided two different sentences. So the first one is, please don't stop what you're doing. Okay. Which does not have any punctuations in between. So the only punctuation that you're going to see is the period, right? At the end of the sentence, meaning whatever that person is doing, if, for example, they're reading, they're doing an assignment, okay, or they're doing a project, so that they should continue, right? They should continue doing their assignment, you should continue reading, you should continue doing your project, right? And for the next sentence that we do have, so we have, please don't, exclamation point, stop what you're doing, right? So we have a different meaning for this one because of the punctuation. So here we are asking someone to actually stop, right? What they are doing. For example, if they're cooking, right? Or if they are invading someone's house. So there. So please don't stop what you're doing. Okay. And using an exclamation, right, actually differs the expression that we have. Okay. So it's a strong emotion. It's a strong feeling that we are actually trying to express. So putting punctuations really makes a big difference, right, on what we are trying to express, what we are trying to convey with our message. That's why using punctuations is really important. Okay, it's really important so that you would be able to properly convey, okay, whatever you are expressing to your listeners, okay, or to the person that you are actually talking to. Also, for example, this one. Let me provide another one. This one is also a different sentence. Okay, here. Okay, so a woman without her man is nothing, right? So for the first sentence, so it's just going to be one punctuation, okay, a period at the very end. So it just means that a woman without a man, right, cannot exist, for example. Now, for the second sentence that we do have, so if you will see, so we have different punctuations. Okay, we have different punctuations here. So we have the colon, we have a comma as well, and then we have the period, right? So a woman without her man is nothing. So you would see that there is an entirely different meaning, right? Which is actually the opposite meaning of the first sentence that was provided, which is a woman without her man is nothing, versus a woman without her man is nothing. Right? That's why punctuations are really very important depending on the message that you would want to get across, okay, to your listener, to your readers, okay, because it would really matter, okay. And of course, if we have punctuations for the written English, right, whenever we are reading these sentences, okay, it will be important as well, right, for us to be able to follow the punctuation. If there's a comma, you should pause, okay. If there's a colon as well, if there's an exclamation, because you would see it, right? You would hear that there will be a difference in meaning. Like, for example, if I just simply read it as a woman without her man is nothing, right? And versus the second sentence, a woman without her man is nothing, right? That's going to be an entirely different meaning. And for the first set of sentence that was sent out, please don't stop what you're doing, okay? Versus please don't stop what you're doing, right? Entirely different sentences depending on the punctuations that you have used and depending on how you have read it as well. Okay, so they are equally important. How you're going to write it and how you are going to read it as well. Okay, because with the way that you have written it, with your punctuations, and with the way that you are reading it, so that's how your reader, that's how your listener will actually perceive whatever you are, whatever message you are trying to convey to them. Okay, okay. So that's why punctuations are very, very important. So here, what punctuations do we have? Okay, so first off, for the punctuations, of course, we have our sentence endings. Okay, the punctuations that we use at the end of a particular sentence. So we have three punctuation endings for that. So we have period, we have question mark, we have exclamation point as well. Okay, wait up, sorry. Okay, wait, not that. Okay. Okay, so here, so we have these different punctuations. I actually moved my Zoom control. Sorry for that. Okay, so here, so we have the different sentence endings. So we have a period, we have a question mark, and we also have our exclamation point. So these are the common punctuations that we use at the end of a particular sentence. So what will be the different usage between these three? So first off, for a period, okay, this one, the dot, right? So this is going to be placed at the end of a declarative sentences. Statements thought to be complete and after many abbreviations. So what are declarative sentences? So for declarative sentences, they are just simply statements that relay information. Okay, sentences that provide information. So for a declarative sentence, they state facts or an opinion, or it lets the reader or the listener know something specific. Okay, and this is the common type of sentence that we do have. Like for example, she sings. Period. I like climbing. Period. Okay, my dog is brown. Period. Okay. So she is 9 years old, period. Okay, so it's just going to be a declarative form of sentence. Other example that we have, okay, he was born on December 6, 2000, period. Okay, if we are just simply providing an information there. Okay, stating facts, stating opinions, okay, or just relaying a specific information. Okay, so there, our sentences always ends with a period for that. Now, what about for a question mark? Okay, for a question mark, it is used to indicate a direct question when placed at the end of a sentence. Okay, so if we are asking, okay, for example, when did you leave for school? Right? If we're asking questions, when, where, how, why, what. Okay, so we always end it with a question mark. Okay, and sorry, just to add up with the period. So we also mentioned here after abbreviations, right? For example, of abbreviations, for example, for the months. If we say December, right, but we just simply put the abbreviation, so we type it as DEC dot, right, to indicate that it's December. For March, we do it like that. Okay, or for example, for the name, for junior, right? If we say junior, so it's always with a dot, right? So for abbreviations, there after many abbreviations, so we also put a period after that, right? So apart from it being used at the end of a declarative sentence, so we also use period in terms of abbreviations. Okay, or for example, for the month of April, so there, always with a dot. Okay, to indicate that this is an abbreviation. Okay, now again, I'm going back to question mark. So for question mark, this is used to indicate a direct question. Okay, whenever we are asking something, so for example, how did you do that? So we put a question mark at the end of that. Okay, when is your birthday? Okay, where do you live? Okay, how are you? Very basic form of questions, right? So whenever we are using when, what, how, why, okay, where, so we always put a question mark after it. Okay, where did you go? Okay, so there. So always putting a question mark if we are asking a question. That's why it's a question mark. Okay, and then lastly, we have exclamation point. So for exclamation point, this is getting used when we would want to express, okay, a sudden outcry or to add emphasis. Okay, like for example, if it's within a dialogue, if we are expressing or with some expression, for example, holy cow, right? If it's within a dialogue, let me show it. That's right. Oh my God, as well. Okay, so there. For example, there, holy cow. Okay, within a dialogue, or for example, if we would want to emphasize a point. Okay, for example, my friend's rants make me furious! Exclamation point. So we are actually expressing frustration. For example, we are emphasizing that this particular information or this particular act is making you furious, right? Instead of just putting a period on it. So it's just a very monotonous type of sentence. So we would, whenever we would want to express something, okay, in a stronger manner, okay, to put more emphasis on how we are feeling, for example, towards a particular sentence that we have just provided. Okay, so we are going to put an exclamation point with that. Okay, so there. So we can use it within the dialogue or if we would want to emphasize a specific point. Okay, for our exclamation point. So we have these three punctuation marks. Okay, for sentence ending. So you have period, you have a question mark, and again, you have an exclamation point. And all three punctuations have their own usage. Okay, if it's just a declarative sentence, the period would do, or if you are having an abbreviation, so we need to put a period for that as well. If you're asking something, question mark. If you are expressing, adding an emphasis, okay, we are going to use an exclamation point for that as well. Okay, so there. So these are the different sentence ending punctuation marks that we do have. Okay. Now, apart from the sentence ending, so we also have our comma, semicolon, and colon. Okay. Whenever there's a short pause or a short stop within a sentence, so it's because of our commas, our semicolon, or the colon as well. Now, when are we going to use, okay, these particular punctuation marks? So these three have different usage as well. Okay, and sometimes they might be incorrectly used or interchanged. because all these three punctuations indicate a pause, right? Whenever there's going to be a short pause, again, or a short stop, okay, within a sentence. So that's because of the commas, semicolons, and colons as well. So let's start first with a comma. Okay, so for commas, this is used to show a separation of ideas or elements within a sentence. Okay, additionally, it is also used in numbers, dates, and letter writing after the salutation and closing as well. So we do know that we also use commas in regards with dates. For example, when we say December 6, 2000. So there. So we put a comma, right, after the number. Okay, to separate the date and also the year. Now, for commas, so we have these three common usage for commas for direct address. So if we are pertaining to someone or okay, sorry for that. Okay, so for direct address, so for example, thanks for all your assistance, Kath. Or for example, when we say thank you. Okay, thank you, Kath. So there's a comma after the thank you. Okay, it's not just simply going to be thank you, Kath. Okay, without a comma. So whenever we are addressing a particular expression to someone. Okay, so thanks for all your assistance, comma, Kath. Okay, or welcome, you're welcome, comma, whoever you are addressing it to, you're welcome, Mark. There's a comma after the you're welcome. Okay, or good morning, good evening. Okay, there's a comma after it as well if we are directly addressing it to someone. Okay, for example, good morning, Jane. Okay, good morning, comma, Jane. Okay, so there. So if we are directly addressing someone. Also, separation of two complete sentences. So we went to the movies and then we went out to lunch. Okay, so since these are two separate activities, okay, they are two separate activities. So we went to the movies, comma, and then went out to lunch. Okay, since they are going to be two separate activities, two separate thoughts in one sentence. Okay, and lastly, separating lists or elements within sentences. So Tiffany wanted the black, comma, pink, comma, and red dress. Okay, they are all different colors, right? Even though they are all dresses, but they are all different colors of a particular of a dress, right? So we have a black dress, we have a pink dress, and we have a red dress as well. So they all need to be separated by a comma. Okay. So there. Now, the common confusion maybe or the common error that's happening is in regards with the comma before the word end. Because sometimes what happens is that Tiffany wanted the blank comma pink and red dress. There. Okay, so if you say pink and red dress without the comma, so that would mean a dress with color pink and red already together. Okay, so a dress that has both colors pink and red. Instead, if versus, for example, if we say pink, comma, and red dress, so they are two separate dresses, right? One is the pink dress, pink colored dress, and the other is going to be a red colored dress. Okay, so it depends on the information that you are trying to convey. Okay, are they two separate entities? Are they two separate elements? Okay, are they two separate objects? Are they two separate colors? So if they are separate, so we should put a comma before and. Okay, but if they're just going to be one entity, for example, or within one element, so the comma would be taken out. Okay. So there. So we have the different usage of our commas, direct address, separation of two complete sentences, separating lists or elements within sentences. Now, Another common area that's happening with commas is in regards with a direct address. Okay, because commonly whenever we type thank you, we do it like this. There, we do it like that, right? Um, it's just one full sentence without any punctuation in between, no comments, right? But since we are specifically addressing the thank you to Kath, so we should have it as thank you, comma, Kath, like that. Okay, like that. Okay, so there should always be a comma because we're not really used, right? Especially in a sense of, for example, it's just a message, it's just a text message, right? So we don't really put punctuations with that, right? So we might have adapted that as well when we are formally writing something. So if it's going to be a direct address to someone, okay, sorry, we should put a comma before or after the particular information. Okay, before the name of the person that you are actually addressing. Okay, sorry, just give me 1 minute. Let me just drink some water. Okay, okay. Okay, okay, okay. Now, so again, for the usage of commas, so we have these common commas. Okay, now whether to add the final comma before this particular conjunction is really in the matter of a debate. Okay, so sometimes especially the final comma known as the Oxford comma. Okay, it's actually useful in a complex series of elements or phrases. But at times, it is considered as a necessary in a simple series. Okay, so sometimes it usually comes down to a style choice by the writer. Okay, but there. Okay, but as long as you are separating lists or elements, so it's better, right? If we can put commas to actually indicate that they are separate, okay, that they are different from each other. Okay. Now, apart from commas, so we also have semicolon for the punctuation, which will indicate a pause, okay, in a particular series or in a particular sentence. Now, when do we use the semicolon? So for a semicolon, so here it's the dot and comma. Okay, so it's different with colon, which is the two dots. Okay, so this is the semicolon there. So for semicolon, this is used to connect independent clauses. Okay, independent clauses meaning separately they have or they convey complete meaning. Okay, they convey complete thought. Okay, so it shows a closer relationship between the clauses than a period would show. So, for example, Johnny was hurt. He knew she only said it to upset him. Okay, so it will indicate that these two sentences are entirely are connected. So Johnny was hurt because of this particular reason. Okay, so it will have a better conviction or a better meaning instead of us using period. So Johnny was hurt. He knew she only said it to upset him, right? So if it's a period, okay, there might be some misunderstanding in regards with these two sentences. So to show a better relationship between these two clauses, between these two complete thoughts, okay, so we can use a semicolon for that instead. But you will only use semicolon if they are independent clauses, if they are conveying complete thoughts. Okay, if they are not conveying complete thoughts, so there. Okay, so we are not to use semicolon for that. Okay, so again, semicolon is used for independent clauses to actually connect these two sentences. Okay. So there. And lastly, for a colon, which is the two dots, this one. Oh, there. Sorry, I sent a semicolon there. For a semicolon there, which is the two dots. So it will have three main uses for that. So the first main usage of a colon is that the first is after a word introducing a quotation, an explanation, an example, or a series. Okay, so for example, he was planning to study four subjects. Okay, and what are those subjects that he is studying? So we have math, science, English, and history. Okay, so there to indicate what are the four subjects that he was actually studying. Okay, because we are providing examples. Okay, or we are providing the series of subjects that this particular person is actually studying. Okay, and for the second usage of colon, so it's going to be between independent clauses. Okay, again, independent clauses, they have a complete thought, even if they stand on their own, when the second would explain the first. Now, this is quite similar to a semicolon. Okay, this is quite similar to a semicolon for the usage. So I did not have time to get changed, and the explanation for that is because I was already late. Okay, when this particular second clause, second independent clause, would explain, okay, would explain the first independent clause. So this person did not have time to get changed because they were already late. Okay, so for the explanation of the first independent clause, so you can use a colon instead of just simply a period. Okay, to provide the explanation for the first independent clause. Okay, and it's similar to a semicolon. And lastly, the third usage of a colon is going to be for emphasis. So there was one thing she loved more than any other, her dog. Okay, to emphasize. Okay, to emphasize that it's actually the dog, okay, that she loved more than anything else. Okay. And for a colon, it also has non-grammatical uses in time, right? We use it in time. For example, we say 5 o'clock if we're going to type 5 o'clock. So we will be adding a colon for that, right? Ratio, business correspondence, and references as well. But commonly, we use it in a non-grammatical use with the usage of time as well, right? So there. So we have these three different punctuation marks, okay, that can indicate a pause in a particular sentence or in a particular series. So we have comma, we have semicolon, we also have a colon. Okay, wait up. Let me check. Okay, so there. So each punctuation, the comma, semicolon, and colon has their own usage, okay, to indicate a particular pause. Okay, now for semicolon and colon, so there are times that they can get interchanged because they have similar usage, especially if it's going to be between two independent clauses. Okay, but for colon, it's better used if, yes, they are two independent clauses, but the second independent clause is an explanation for the first independent clause. Okay, so there. So we have colons, semicolon, and colon. So likewise, when we are reading, okay, and we see this punctuation, so a short pause or a short stop is always needed, okay, for us to better express to the listeners or to the person who is actually listening with what we are saying that they are different entities, okay, and this is another thought that we do have. Okay, now apart from colons, semicolons, and commas, so we also have apostrophe and quotation marks. Okay, for our punctuation marks. So for apostrophe, so this is used to indicate the omission of a letter or letters from a word. The possessive case, remember the possessive pronouns that we've had earlier, the it, comma, s, your, you, comma, re, their, they, comma, re, right? So they are the possessive form of pronouns that we have, or the plurals or lowercase letter. Okay. For example, for omission of letters from a word, there are times that between a subject and the verb, right, we tend to emit some letters from that, especially if it's between a pronoun and a verb. So, for example, if we say I have, right, we can just simply shorten it to I've. There, I, comma, ve, right? So I've seen that series. Okay, I've watched that movie, right? So for us to shorten, okay, some words, so we just simply omit some letters and then we put an apostrophe for that. Okay, now what about, for example, for was not there. If we say was not, how are we going to shorten was not? Okay, with the usage of an apostrophe. Just like with I have, it's going to be I've. Okay, very good. That's going to be wasn't. That's right. So wasn't, and then the apostrophe will of course be with, it's going to be on the place where the word or the letter was actually omitted. Right? So there. For example, what about had not? So how are we going to omit some letters from a particular word for had not? Very good. Hadn't. Right? Or if it's were not, weren't. Right? Good job. Okay. So there. So that's one usage that we have for apostrophe. Okay. Now, apart from that, so we also use it in a possessive case. Right? Possessive case. So for example, there, Johnny's car, to indicate that it's the car of Johnny, right? Or Johnny is the owner of that particular car. So we put apostrophe S to indicate possession towards a particular object, right? So Johnny's car, Mark's dog, there. Yes, Amira's toys. Okay, so we always put apostrophe S for that, right? There to indicate possession. Okay, but if, for example, the word, okay, that we are going to put an apostrophe on it to indicate possession ends with the letter S. Okay, so it's not going to be apostrophe S anymore, just apostrophe would do to indicate possession. Okay, and also for plural, for lowercase letters. Okay, so for example, they were told to mind their B's and V's, right? Wait, let me type in the sentence. There. Okay, so they were told to mind their B's and V's. So the plural for lowercase letter. So we also put apostrophe for that as well. So we don't just say B's like BS without any apostrophe or VS without any apostrophe. So it's going to convey a different meaning. Okay, so there. So for the usage of the apostrophe, so we use it for omission of some letter or letters from a particular word. Okay, to indicate that this is the shortened form of that word or that phrase. Possessive usage and plurals of lowercase letters as well. Okay. Now, there are instances as well that for the usage of apostrophes, you might see some using it on symbols, for example, numbers, okay, and for capitalized letters as well, okay, even though they are not really necessary. For example, when we say Q&As, okay, sometimes you might see this, okay, or this, okay. It's not really necessary to put an apostrophe for that. Okay, so you can just simply use it as Q&As. Okay, or for the numbers as well, sometimes, for example, fives or sevens. So you might see it like that as well. Okay, or on symbols. Okay, so there. But the main usage of apostrophe are these three. Okay, so omission of a letter or letters rather. Possessive usage to indicate possession. And lastly, plurals of lowercase letters. Okay, there. Now, apart from apostrophe, again, we also have quotation marks. Okay, there. So for quotation marks, so they are a pair of punctuation marks that is getting used to mark the beginning and end of a passage, okay, attributed to another and repeated word for word. If, for example, we are saying or relaying a particular message that was told or that was said by someone else, okay, or we are simply quoting them, okay, if we are quoting someone that this person said this, blah, 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 this is what they said. So we are just simply quoting whatever someone else has mentioned. So we are going to put quotation marks for that, okay, to indicate that it was mentioned by another. Okay, or we if we are repeating something word for verbatim. Okay. They are also used to indicate meanings and to indicate the unusual or dubious status of a word. Okay. Now, for quotation marks, there is the quotation and also a single quotation marks. So for single quotation marks, this is used most frequently for quotes within quotes. So you are already quoting something and then there's also a quotation inside it. Okay. For example, for the quotation marks, uh, okay, there. Don't eat that, she said. Right. So meaning, the don't eat that was mentioned by another person. Okay, because if it's just you who's going to say that don't eat that, right? You don't need to put any punctuation marks for that, or you don't need to put quotation for that anymore, because it's you personally who actually said it. But if we are just simply pertaining to someone, oh, okay, wait. Okay, there. Thank you. Okay, there. I see. Okay, there. Okay, so for example, don't eat that, she said, right? So there. So since we are just simply quoting whatever the other person has said, so we are going to put quotation marks for that to indicate that this is what she said. This is not coming from you personally. Okay, and for single quotation marks, so it's going to be for quotes within quotes. So for example, sorry, wait. I'm typing. Okay, so here, so for example, Sam told the teacher quotation mark. So this is what she exactly said to the teacher. I saw Jane at the mall and she said to me, single quotation mark, Rain started the fight. Why is it a single quotation mark? Because this is what Jane particularly said to Sam, right? Which is going to be another quotation apart from the particular message that Sam is already mentioning. So I saw Jane at the mall and she said to me, quotation, Rain started the fight and I believed him. Okay, my I is in lowercase, so it should be uppercase, right? Okay, so there. So if we are quoting something, okay, that was specifically told by another person, so we should put quotation marks for that, okay, to indicate that this is what they said, okay, that it's not personally your statement. Okay, okay. So there, and if there's going to be a quotation, okay, within the quotation, okay, so that's going to be the usage of the single quotation marks. Okay, so they are again most frequently used for quotes within quotes. Okay, okay, so there. So that's the usage that we have if it's going to be for quotation marks, and we have for apostrophe as well. Okay, so there. So we have apostrophe. We also have quotation marks depending on the usage. Okay, so again, for apostrophe, if we are omitting some letter or letters from a particular word to indicate possession, to indicate possession, okay, or the plurals of lowercase letters as well. While for quotation marks, so we are going to use quotation marks to indicate, okay, a specific passage. Okay, or if you are repeating something that was mentioned word for word or in verbatim, okay, that was spoken or that was mentioned by another person. Okay, or if you're specifically repeating something word for word that was already mentioned before. Okay, so for quotation marks, we have the single quotation, which is the apostrophe twice. Okay, and then we have the quotation marks as well. Okay, or the double apostrophes there. Okay, so we have some quotations provided. So we have colons, semicolons, and also commas for pauses. Okay, within a particular series, within a particular sentence. Okay, and we also have, of course, our sentence endings, which is your period, question mark, your exclamation point as well. Because just like what was mentioned earlier for the example that we do have, right, for the sentence, few set of sentences that we have provided, so the punctuation marks really changes the meaning. Okay, it will really provide a different meaning depending on the punctuation that we are going to use. Okay, so we need to be careful of the punctuations that we are going to use. Okay, so that we can properly convey, we can correctly, okay, convey the meaning that we would like to reach to our listeners, to our readers, for example. Okay, so that's why we have these different punctuations. So, of course, we do have other punctuation marks as well, apart from these punctuation marks that were already provided. So, we also have, for example, brackets, okay, parenthesis, okay, we also have ellipsis, okay, so depending on the usage as well. Okay, so there, we'll try to give out those other punctuation marks as well that are not really commonly used, like, for example, your brackets, your parentheses, your braces. Okay, what else? Ellipsis. Ellipsis, the three dots. Okay, that's the ellipsis that we are talking about, the three periods rather. Okay, so when are we going to use that? We also have dash or hyphen. Yep, that's also part of our punctuation marks. Okay, but they are not commonly used. Okay, but we'll provide the usage of those particular punctuation marks as well. Okay, so when are we supposed to use these other punctuation marks? So for now, these are the common punctuation marks that we do have, okay, that you commonly use in a sentence, right? Or that you commonly use whenever you are writing something. So, period, question mark, exclamation point, commas, semicolons, colons. We also have our apostrophes and quotation marks. Okay, so there. So we have the punctuations. Okay, later on, I'll provide additional examples for you guys so that we can check, we can see, okay, if the punctuation marks are getting used correctly, are getting used appropriately. Okay, we'll have that later on. Okay, but for now, what we have discussed so far for this session is, of course, in regards with word usage. Okay, the different words that we can appropriately use. So exact versus exact, fewer versus less, your, okay, and also the business versus colloquial terms that we do have, and also our punctuation marks as well. Okay, now for the next session that we will have, so we will have in relation to voice, because from last session, right, we were able to read some script, okay, that was provided to you guys, and then we had some observations, we had some opportunities that we were able to see, okay, with that short script that was provided to you guys. So we will be focusing on that for the next session. What are the common opportunities okay, that we do have in regards with voice usage. Okay, so that's what you will be focusing on for next session rather, which is on Friday. Okay, for the next session that you guys will be having. Okay, but for now, that's everything that I have for you guys. We have our punctuations and word usage as well. Okay, later on, we'll add more in regards with the punctuation for the not commonly used punctuation marks that was provided, that I was able to mention earlier. When are we going to use them? Okay, and what will be the correct usage for those other punctuation marks that we do have? Okay, and we'll add up as well with grammars later on. Okay, but for now, that's everything that I have for you guys for today. So I hope you guys were able to have some takeaways, okay, in regards with the punctuation marks and the word usage that was provided earlier. Okay, and it's already, what time is it? It's already 37 anyway. I'm not sure, maybe you have another session after this. So to give you an ample amount of time to recharge yourselves and to prepare yourselves for the next session, or if you have other tasks after this, to prepare yourselves for other tasks. So that's everything that I have for you guys for today. Thank you very much for joining the session once again. And hopefully you guys were able to have some takeaways. Okay. And I'll meet you guys again on Friday. Okay, to have some check-up with you guys again in regards with the previous discussion that we've had and to add more. Okay, in regards with our basic English language 101. Okay, thank you. You guys have a very good day for today.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you as well.